Good morning, and welcome to the Chair Across the Aisle, uh, a podcast for real people, real stories, and meaningful talks about the world around us. And the world around us does have a lot to do with cybersecurity these days. It's a topic, and I'm happy to be here with Craig Taylor, the co-founder and chief information security officer of Cyberhoot, a company you created, right?
Yes, about 12 years ago, I co-founded it with three other amazing people. We decided to set out to try and address the need for cyber literacy or cyber hygiene.
And when you say cyber literacy, it goes wide and it goes deep. So literally, I was just reading a lot of your stuff. Just email phishing goes to
Yep.
every individual in the world. They get an email. It says, "Amazon, your payment has been received," and you go, "Oh my God, I didn't order anything." And you suddenly you create this panic attack that you got to get with this Amazon, and it's not Amazon, and they're gonna just can you go through that step from an individual point of view? Just a simple phishing email.
Yeah, so hackers, they like to cause emotional reactions and urgency reactions in their email so that, they know if you react to something, you're not thinking as clearly as if you respond after a few minutes. So they put some urgency and emotionality into their emails, and then they impersonate all the vendors and the domains that we are very familiar with. Like you said, Amazon. They might take the M as in Mary in Amazon and change it into an R and an N so that the domain name, when you look at it, looks the same, but the M has been converted to an R and an N. So they've registered a different domain name. Now that will be taken down in a week, right? People will report it and it'll be offline within a week. But during that week, so many people are panicked about something they didn't buy and they don't validate the sending domain is actually Amazon.com, and they click. And so they get brought to their Amazon account. It looks like their Amazon account to log in, but it's not. It's a fake website made to look like Amazon, and it prompts you for your credentials. So you dutifully type in your email and your password to Amazon, and right then and there, the hacker has your account. Now, if you're smart and you've set up some, you've been trained on good cybersecurity, you probably turned on multi-factor authentication, or maybe you've adopted pass keys on your Amazon account. That'll save you in this moment. Or you've adopted a password manager so you don't even know your password. In that case, that'll save you as well because the password manager looks at the domain name, knows that it's not Amazon with an M, it's Arnazon. What the hell is Arnazon? I don't have an account for that. And it won't give your credentials away. And if you've done it properly, you don't know your credentials because the password manager just created a 20 character random string of characters for your password. And so you're not going to type that in and you're not going to get fooled. That's the benefit of password managers, of training on typo squatted domain names, that sort of thing. That's exactly what we do at Cyberhood.
And that's really so. Now let's just consider this for 1 minute. What you just said is basically you said if you're smart. We've all been thrown into this world of IT. I mean, literally, I've been thrown into it. I'm 60 years old. I was thrown into it. I was
Yep.
thrown to the wolves. I go to my 13-year-old for help often because he's the one that. But there is if you're not smart, if you don't have a password manager, if you're literally, and Amazon has roped us in from every angle. I mean, so I have an eye condition, not to go deep into my personal things. I get an email from Amazon, a real email, a real Amazon, that the best way to get my prescriptions, my insurance is switched to Amazon prescription, is to be an
Yep.
Amazon Prime member. So
Yep.
suddenly now I'm an Amazon Prime member. I don't have a password authentication and I'm just clicking on Amazon. Is
Yeah.
there is there any basic course that somebody can sign up with Cyberhood to get the real basic fundamentals like you just said? Because we assume, well, I don't even think you assume. I don't know these things, and I'm a
Right.
blogger. I work for corporate America, and still in
Yeah.
all, I'm a fool when it comes to cybersecurity.
So you're not wrong. And here's what we do. We give our entire product offering away. The videos, the monthly video, the phishing simulation. It's free for individuals. There's a free trial account. You can sign up for life and we don't take it away. We just keep sending you a new video every month and a new phishing simulation. It's not the gotcha kind. There's two kinds of phishing in this world. There's the ones that are the fake messages sent to your inbox to see if you can identify it and not make a mistake by clicking on links in it. Then there's ours, which says, here's a phishing simulation for you to take. We want to walk you through the Arnazons of the world, or the Microsofts, right? RN Microsoft. We're going to typo squat the domain name. We're going to make it very interactive and give you an open book like, help me, I don't know what I'm looking for here. On the sender, the subject, the greeting, emotional intelligence in the email, like urgency and emotionality, links, attachments, language quality. All of those things are telltale signs of a potential phishing attack, something of suspicion. And we're going to teach you that for free at cyberhoot.com/individuals. If you go to that URL, you can sign up today for free. Our hope is that you enjoy it enough that you share it with friends and family, and that someone will bring it to their business, to their office, because they're tired of being tricked. They'd rather be educated. I like to say that our fishing simulation, we call it Hootfish, just so you know, Coach Dribby. And we like to say that we teach people how to fish, feeding them for a lifetime. And that's PHISH, right?
Right.
Most of the gotcha emails that get sent out by many of the vendors out there are just feeding you a fish for today. And you might not click later today because you're full. You've had your little meal of a fishing test, but you're not really taught how it works. That's your real earlier point, is that all of us, even in corporate America, have never really been taught how these things work. What does it mean for a typo squatted domain? Well, that's just one letter change to the URL you're going to, but that really matters. If you were to look someone's name up and you said, I need to talk to Chris Smith, right? And you look up in the phone book going back 20 years, you look up Chris Smith, here's his phone number, but you didn't realize Chris was spelled with Kris. Well, maybe you looked up the wrong Chris. So you're going to the wrong phone number. You're going to get the wrong person. That's what happens with web domains. If you type in just one letter different, you're going to end up at the wrong place. And that's what hackers are banking on. They're banking on that you don't know what type of squatted domain names, what the one letter difference means, and that they can throw urgency and emotionality in there. Like, I'm going to take your Netflix account away if you don't log in right now and change your password or do this or do that or pay your bill. And people are freaking out because they don't want to lose access to their Netflix account and they log in. That's a silly example because there's not a lot of financial fraud going on at Netflix. But if it's your bank account or your investing or your trading account or your email, think about the criticality of your email account. It is where every other account reset goes. So if I say, oh, I forgot my password to Amazon, where are they going to send the reset link? To your
Right.
email. So if I
Right.
can break into email, I control your entire life.
Right. And so, just like you said, and I found that very interesting, that you're providing this service for free, this online course for free, which is
Yes.
incredible because online courses are not generally free. You're providing it for free. Then
Yes.
my question is that people are going to get to know Cyberhoot, right? But can
Yep.
Cyberhoot ever sort of affiliate it with itself with maybe AARP or something, where we really get the word out and
Well,
really get 1 million subscribers and 1 million from there.
we've been reaching out to AARP for a better part of 2 or 3 years and just haven't hit the right contact there because we'd love to make it a benefit of your AARP membership, right? Because senior fraud abuse is rampant. And if we could just create this little modicum of knowledge, it's not the thing about what we're teaching is it's not rocket science. It's not calculus. It is common sense with a few facts. And when you put them together, you can really learn how phishing works and you can really avoid the majority of attacks that we face, right? And so if we could partner with AARP, we would love to do so. Make it a membership benefit. I have been trying to find the right contact there, and I hope anyone listening to this can put us in touch with AARP because we think a member benefit like this would be amazing. We have the ability to opt out. You could send every AARP employee, a member a training email and says, you want to subscribe, you're in. If you don't, opt out, you're out. we've already built the whole thing to support it.
And that's just incredible. So and I find that I find that I guess I don't find it odd because I reach out to everybody and I don't normally get responses. So I mean, it's that whole 1 in 100. I don't think we're at 1 in 100. I think we're at 1 in 1,000 at this point. There's a lot of people reaching out to a lot of people.
Right.
So but it was just it to me. I have an 85-year-old mom. She was sitting home bored. I got
Hmm.
her a nurse to come to the house 3 days a week for 4 hours a day. She likes going to the bank. She likes going to the post office. She can't drive, and she's a walrus. She can't. So I can imagine if AARP were to say yes, Cyberhoot, we would love to endorse you. We'll go. We'll do whatever it takes to research. We need a review about your company to make sure you're a legit company. These people would have something to do.
Right.
And
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 they
and
would be
and an important
avoiding.
something.
It's
Yeah.
very important. And the we know there's a need because we know how much financial fraud is happening, not just to the elderly, but to everyone. We know that the concepts are teachable because the positive, like our approach, what makes Cyberhoot somewhat unique in the industry is for 25 years, the industry has said, let's find the biggest stick we can whack people with to prevent the clicks, right? It's a punishment-based approach. And if you look at science and the studies that have recently come out, that approach fails every time. People don't change their behavior. B.F. Skinner, 75 years ago, he said, rewarded behaviors are repeated. Rewarded behaviors are repeated, right? That is the simple scientific proof that what we do at Cyberhoot works. We reward you for choosing the correct answers in a phishing simulation. Everyone else in the industry measures if you click, and if you click, you fail, and then you get a 30-minute video to watch, which may or may not teach you what you need to know. A recent study said people that fail, they watch that video for 10 seconds on average. It
Right.
doesn't work. It's like trying to teach a dog with a shock collar instead of treats. It's like trying to make your kids better people by punishing them for mistakes instead of rewarding good behaviors. Like, hey, Johnny, you used your words that time. That's great. We're going to go for ice cream later because you used your words, not spanking time because you had a temper tantrum. It just doesn't work. So why does cybersecurity for 25 years think we should use bigger sticks to punish and shame employees to change their behaviors? B.F. Skinner never said punished behaviors are extinguished, not once. He said rewarded behaviors are repeated. So let's reward the good behaviors. When you look at a typo squatted domain and you identify it, give you a thumbs up, pass the test. When you identify urgency and emotionality as a trigger point in an email and you label it suspicious, pass the test, right? These are the things we've built into Hootfish to reward the good behaviors of end users. And we know 75% of them say, hey, I like that test, that simulation. I learned something. And there's actually some hope in the industry. There's some companies out there, not just Cyber, but there's a couple more that are starting to use positive reinforcement, rewards, gamification to encourage engagement. People have to want to do these things. And unfortunately, when you punish them, they disengage, they shut down, they say, I give up, I'm going to forward everything to IT. And that's a lose-lose scenario, right? We want win-win solutions, and that's what we're all about. So yeah,
So, I was just thinking that, and again, it's a crazy way to look at it, but I was just thinking that you reach out to AARP and you don't get the response you're looking for. You never reach the right person. Now I'm thinking, what if you reached out to individual Boy Scout troops and talked to the kids about showing their grandparents how important this is, and and telling them, let's go over this together. Let's go over one Cyberhoot video together. And look, Grandma, you got another thumbs up because it's just the problem is we are there's this Admiral Craven who talks about facing off in the sharks in the world, and if you and we've got a lot of sharks in the world. They're good, they're
yeah.
professionals, they're basically better than the ones that went and did things legitimately often, and
Hmm.
um and it's a real. I mean, I've met people that have lost a lot because of
Cybercrime. Yep.
cybercrime. Yeah.
Fraud and abuse. Yeah, and like if you want to, anyone listening to this, if you say, "Oh, I got a family, I got to protect my family," what are some of the threats we're facing as a family? and this is good for anyone. We do this in the corporate world. We are recommending now with AI and the deep fakes of the world where, I can take your video and your voice and pretend to be you and call your finance officer at your company and then say, wire this money. I'm the CEO. Wire this money to this account for this payment that we know is happening. That's happening. And the best protection against that is a safe word, a financial safe word, or a process that says call to verify. Do not call or email back when you get an email from someone saying, hey, I need you to wire this money, or a phone call saying, I need you to wire this money. Say, okay, I'm going to hang up and call your regular number so I know it's you. Because there's these deep fakes that are very believable nowadays, and they can be in real time responding to questions, things of that nature. But the same is true for families. You need a password or a code word that you share with your family members, especially grandma and grandpa. I'll tell you, 2 years ago, my grandmother was part of a scam where she wanted to go to the bank to take 5 grand out to bail out my son. And she thought he was abducted and needed to be rescued with this payment because she got a phone call from him. So we called my son up and we said, "Are you okay?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm right here. I'm just going my way to work." And her mouth dropped, her face went white. How did this happen? Like I just spoke to you and you were you know, in trouble. So a safe word would be very easy to protect families and financial transactions within organizations. We have a video that we train on this within our platform, but it's a good tip for users out there listening to this to set up a family safe word.
That's a beautiful tip because, like you said, I mean, here's grandma and her grandson's in trouble, and it's
Mhm.
AI now. Literally, could almost do a FaceTime call if your grandmother knows how to do FaceTime. It's gonna look real.
Yep.
And this is just I didn't even think of that could be an issue someday. And you
Well,
just
these are
just
the common sense little things that a little bit of knowledge about the kinds of attacks we're facing, paired with some best practices are shared in videos once a month with every user at Cyberhoot, and you learn how to protect yourself. The same thing happens with disasters, right? We just had a huge snowstorm. There's probably disaster fake websites popping up all over the mid-south where they had the ice storms and the power outages. Donate to this charity, donate to that charity to help recover from the storm. And it's a fake website. You have to know that the moment something bad happens, fake websites pop up to take advantage of that. So don't donate outside of a Red Cross and make sure it's the real Red Cross. Don't donate to, Tom, Dick, and Harry's charity organization. Go and verify the charity before you make a donation. Overpayment scams. You sell something on Facebook Marketplace and someone pays you $200 instead of $100 for the thing you're selling. And then they email you immediately. They say, "Ooh, I sent you too much money. Can you send me 100 back?" Well, guess what? They never sent you the 200 to begin with. It's on a fraudulent credit card. It's been canceled. No one's going to get the $200. So when you send 100 back of your hard-earned cash, it's gone.
it's gone.
And that's a video we do last year. We have it on our platform for free. It teaches you about financial payment scams, romance scams, catfishing, all of these kinds of different things. If you're online, you've got the entire world trying to beat you out of your money and trick you into paying people that you shouldn't.
And so, like, when you create these videos, are you familiar with everything, every scam out there, or are there new ones popping up every day?
Well, I can't say I'm familiar with every scam because there's new ones every day. But what we do is we produce 12 videos a year at Cyberhoop, and we generate them with AI products so that our costs are reduced. But we're telling a story, and that story could be about financial scams. It could be about deep fakes. It could be about just using AI in general, right? You don't want to put critical and sensitive data into a public AI product because it could consume that and it can share it with the world then. Particularly in corporate America, that's a big risk. But we're doing videos that basically evolve each year and look back at the last 12 months and say, what were the attacks? What were the specific developments in threats, in attacks, in breaches we've seen? And how do we teach people to avoid those things? Now, I will tell you this very clearly. 25 years, the number one way companies and individuals are breached is still phishing emails. It remains the same. Now, if you go up to corporate America, banks of the world, right? They're not being beat by phishing emails typically. It's much different. It could be unpatched systems. It could be a 0 day vulnerability. But it's not the average person, the average company out there is being beaten by phishing emails and poor password hygiene, not using password managers in your business and in your personal life. Those are the top two threats that I would say. If you can learn how phishing works and adopt a password manager, you're going to be in good shape. And don't be afraid of passkeys. That's another recent development in the last, say, 2 years. It's been around for about 3 years. We've been blogging about it for 4 years that this is going to be a good thing, but it's now hit mainstream. But you kind of need to have a password manager to hold on to those passkeys. Passkeys are basically a cryptographic hash between your computer and the website you're logging into. And the nice part about them is they can't be stolen and reused elsewhere, like a password can be. We know people reuse passwords everywhere they go if they're not on a password manager. So when you use either a simple or a complex password over here and that website's breached, if that password was stored unencrypted, the hacker can see it and use it to log into your email or into your bank or into this other thing. So passkeys prevent that because they are tied one to one, cannot be reused elsewhere. So that's a beautiful thing. And it's a MFA, multi-factor equivalent in a single step. You say, I want to log in here. It says, do you have a passkey? I say, yes, and you're in. There's no pull out your phone. Okay, where's the code? And put it into this website. The other day, January 14th, I'm on Verizon. I couldn't log into half the websites I needed to because the SMS messages weren't coming through from the outage, the Verizon outage, right? So I was dead in the water for a lot of this stuff. Now, so
So now, okay, you produce 12 new videos a year, one a month. Just let's go hypothetically. A person takes on these first 12. They are going to be pretty well versed in a lot of what's going on because a lot of stuff covers a lot of different things. One video may make you alert to a lot of different things. Now, if you
100%.
just, yeah, and you just do that whole 1 year, and you do the 12 videos, you're not gonna be Craig Taylor, but you're gonna be pretty well versed in a lot of what's going on. And so what I'm building, where I'm arriving at here, is how do we get a lot of elderly people to at least commit to 1 year of Cyberhoot, commit to one video a month? Because like I said, my mom was literally bored to the point of depression, and the few things she likes to do now that I've arranged for a nurse to come over the house 3 days a week is go to the bank, go to the post
Right.
office. They like to do she one day I called her. I'm balancing my checkbook. I haven't used a checkbook in years, but she still does, and it was a part of her day. That was a big part of her day, and then she's gonna.
Yeah.
So I just see this opportunity, but like you said, it's hard to get through to the gate, get through the gatekeepers.
Right.
There's somebody at AARP that just doesn't want to receive the information and say, you know what, this guy's got a great
Well,
product.
in their defense, I mean, they probably get hit up by thousands of people or companies to say, hey, this would be good, that would be good. And they're not wrong. There's probably many good opportunities out there for AARP to provide more services. But this is a super easy one. If you have the email address of your members at AARP and you can auto enroll them in a voluntary cybersecurity program, that gets 90% positive ratings on videos and 75% positive ratings on our Hootfish, our phishing simulator, you can't make a mistake. There's one click for any senior who says, I know this stuff. I worked in cyber. I don't need this. Unsubscribe. We have the unsubscribe link at the bottom of every email, so you don't have to be bothered again. But you could auto enroll them and provide it as a free service on a very financially beneficial arrangement with Cyberhoot, and we'd be golden. It would help so much with what we know is a growing problem in seniors.
Yeah, they're really the low hanging fruit in this. And then of course, I could be considered the low hanging fruit because I get a lot of phishing emails. I mean, granted, I delete hundreds of emails before I even
Yep.
read one or two, but there's a lot of activity out there to try and scam you, and some of it seems they do really good at it. And I just think I was when I saw you were interested in doing a podcast. I said this is one of those things where we get a lot of good information out there, and then I didn't even know the product was free. I was literally leading to the question, how much is it to subscribe? And for individuals, it's free.
Yeah, for individuals, it's free because we want to we set this BHAG to train 1 billion people on cyber literacy skills. Doesn't matter where you are. We support 17 different languages. You can sign up and take phishing in Spanish and Portuguese and Russian and Chinese and all these different languages. But our goal is to partner with businesses and have them pay us so that we can still provide the free service. But it's working. We're profitable. I wouldn't say we're very profitable. We're growing, but we're not reaching that billion people just yet. We want to get to that billion at some point in the future.
Which would be like Facebook at that point, which would
Yeah.
be as big. So then, okay, so you started this company, like you said, you were the co-founder along with three other people. How did
hmm
you do it? Because that's another thing that I teach. I try to convey to kids. You got to start somewhere. So it's just,
Well, yeah, thank you for asking. I have a background in psychology. So when I was talking about B.F. Skinner and operant conditioning and how psych reinforcement works for changing behaviors long term, people internalize it. They say, I can learn this after watching something and trying something, and they have the confidence to proceed because we've been rewarding them instead of, slapping them on the wrist when they make mistakes. That creates behavior change. When you look at educational best practices, the best classroom teachers are the ones that give little Johnny a spark of interest in some subject to get them to then continue on their studies in that subject. And you can't do that if you're punishing and shaming people. You got to reward and gamify and encourage engagement in various ways. Micro trainings. We keep our trainings short, 2 to 3 minute videos once a month, and a 30-second hoot fish. That's it. And you've got some real good cyber literacy, or what I would like to call cyber hygiene, develops in the individuals going through the training. So the background that got me interested in starting something new was seeing a problem. There was too much shame and punishment in the industry, and it wasn't working. People were still clicking and they were not understanding things. I thought, oh, you know what? Cybersecurity is missing the science of psychology and educational best practices. What if we marry the three? I have the degree in psychology 35 years ago, but I've spent 30 years in cybersecurity. And I've taken a lot of educational and leadership classes around teaching. I was a level 4 hockey coach. And that
wow.
you don't get to level 4 without learning how best do you help develop the hockey players on the ice and off the ice, because hockey is all about life. It teaches you life skills, how to win and how to lose and how to get better. And, I used to say to my kids, if you're not falling down in practice, you're not practicing the right way. We want you to push yourselves on the difficult stuff, not on the easy crossovers, right? And that's a truthism about life and cybersecurity. You got to challenge yourself to learn a little bit difficult skills so that you can stay safe online. All of those things came together to form Cyberhoot. And fortunate for me, my co-founders, they all understood this and they all got behind it and they built the tool. It wasn't even my coding. I don't code at all. There was some really, really, I am very blessed with some amazing co-founders that are diligent, organized, dedicated to this mission.
And that's just incredible. And when I think of it, because a lot of what I do is education based. I'm not an educator, but I believe in education. And when you talk
Mhm.
about that, the reward versus the strict punishment, one of the things I was talking to a candidate for a superintendent, Georgia school superintendent, about how Mississippi created a statewide Montessori public school system. And it was an incredible initiative that brought their school system from 30th in the nation to third. And
Wow.
so, and so when you think of that rewards based or that positive based on anything, cyber security or education or hockey or my kids are swimmers. And it's
hmm
like I tell them, you're not just becoming a swimmer, you're learning discipline from staring at the bottom of a pool 3 hours a day. You're dedicated. I mean, it used to be where I would barely get up out of the bed to drive them to swimming at 4 o'clock in the morning because there's and
Yeah.
my 13-year-old wakes me up now. You ready? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
ready. I got to be a better example than that now. So it's just everything you're saying has a life connotation to it.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity is significantly important. It is the newfound way that people used to pull a gun on you in the middle of an empty alleyway. I mean, it's
Yeah.
better. It's more diplomatic, I guess you would say,
Well,
than
you might not lose your life, although, people who lose their life savings, they get pretty depressed. Um, but you're right. The thing is computers aren't going away. The internet's not going away. Our school systems, that example you gave about Montessori is amazing in terms of reading, writing, and arithmetic, right? But it doesn't have cyber literacy skills built into it. Montessori doesn't do it. The grade schools don't do it. Even the high schools aren't doing it. You can graduate from Ivy League schools and not have any cyber literacy training. This is something that I think is missing. It's a gap in our educational system because that's where it belongs. You're going to be taught how to use a computer, um, keyboard, mouse, email, calendaring, all of the normal computer work, right? But how do you manage it? You need to be able to do it with a password manager. You need to know what phishing is. You need these common sense cybersecurity, cyber hygiene skills to survive online today. And that's what's missing in our curriculum. We're behind teaching these skills. So that's why, CyberHoot's trying to fill the gap. We actually pair very, very well and have, gosh, dozens and dozens of school systems using our product now, but it's for the educators, it's for the administrators and teachers to keep the schools safe and secure. We'd love to see it extended to the students to teach the students these skills because, again, they get it really fast, but they aren't being taught.
yeah. So I'm a lot older than you, right? So I remember when I was in, okay, I would say third grade. I remember the teachers lined us up to go down the school hall to a new room, freshly painted room, and the room had computers at every station. And the teacher said, someday every home will have a computer. And we were like, oh. And we were doing this computer language was called Basic. So you do 10 Jeff's an idiot. 20 go to 10. And Jeff's an idiot would scroll down the screen 1,000 times, right?
Yeah,
And we were all fascinated with it. But that's as far as they went with computer knowledge. They got you to the point where you understood it's going to be important to know how to use a computer. But just like you said now, it's important that we get this in every classroom, not just for the administrators, that we get this 30-second or 2 minute or 3 minute or even 10-minute video for every student to watch once a month and
yep,
convey the message to share the information with the elders in their life
yep.
because and how do we get to that point? That's a hard question for you and your founders to answer or continue to work on, but it's so significant that somehow you've got to persevere and get there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel for teachers every time I talk about to school districts about training the teachers, administrators. There are so many demands on their time. And so much is being asked of teachers today. It's hard to add yet another thing. But what's nice about Cyberhood is it's automated, right? It just arrives in the email inbox of the user. Maybe we say, you get 5% credit for doing your cyber literacy training along the sides of all your other classes. I don't know. We got to incentivize and make it a reward or benefit of something to get these students cyber literate and have good cyber hygiene. Because to not do it is a disservice to society. And I'll say this, I'll go so far as to say the country that figures this out first and makes cyber literacy a part of the curriculum is going to have a global advantage in their workforce because there's going to be fewer ransomware events, fewer business email compromises, fewer wire frauds or financial fraud. And that's going to give us distinct advantage. Do you know how long it takes to recover from an incident? It's taking days and weeks now for companies to get back on their feet. And that's all lost productivity, lost revenue. And, many companies can't afford that.
No, and it's incredible you just pointed that out because one of the things I'm big on when I talk about education, because just like you said, the curriculum's there, the K through 12 curriculum is in place, and it's pretty much it's pretty much overloaded. So to say, can we add cybersecurity to the curriculum is going to be a difficult task, right? Because of the scheduling that's already full. But what I've always said is just like you said, on kids on their own time. If there was a way where they could learn these life skills on their own time versus playing video games and make it incentive based. So then I went so far as saying, in Florida we have a prepaid college program where you can prepay your kids' college and you're paying the rate at the birth rate of their birth versus 20 years later that price. If we could create a national prepaid and create this, so first we create a national prepaid college, then we create this life skills site where kids do it on their own time and
Yeah.
they can earn towards this national prepaid college system on their own time at their own pace, because it's like you said, if we created that and we created cybersecurity, we would be in a big place ahead of the game from any other country in the world.
Yep.
Charles Koch tells a story about how companies hire the best from Ivy League schools, and the minute they get to their job, they realize how little life skills they have, how much they have to spend on training certain things, just communication and probably cybersecurity,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
we don't put anything into that, and it's just something like when somehow I always segue into these convos that I know you didn't want to start with that, but I'm like, wow, this is an incredible knowledge you have to offer.
Thank you. Yeah, we agree. And we're fighting the battle every day to get more and more information out there to allow people to just sign up for free. Another thing we give companies that might not be sure, we give them a free 30-day trial so they can give it a shot, try it, see if they like it. Once you try something and we know that 90% of people who choose to rate our videos give us a thumbs up. That's a pretty good average.
That's
There
huge.
are a minority of people who say, "Oh, I can never watch another AI video." And I don't blame them. AI can be very deleterious and can be a distraction for a small number of people. But the reality is we can bring current topics to hundreds of thousands of eyeballs because we can create a video in a matter of days on a particular emerging threat and put it into our platform with AI. AI is a great enabler for a lot of companies out there. It's creating, a lot of synergies and efficiencies. But you have to be careful. It can also tell stories and hallucinate and make mistakes. You got to own the data and the decision yourself. You can't just rely on it blindly.
Right. Certainly review it before you release it. And
Hmm.
then trust and verify, as Ronald Reagan used to say.
Exactly
But
right. Oh, I remember that. So you said you're a lot older than me, but I'll tell you what, everything you're talking about, I remember. I'm
wow,
54, so I'm
I'm
I'm a,
60,
I'm
so
pretty
not a lot, but
okay. A couple
yeah,
years
a
maybe.
couple of years. Yeah, a few years. But what's interesting about the fact, well, there's really not a big age gap here between me and you, but we have the same life experiences. And generally speaking, when you really boil it down to just this basic rule, we're agreeing on everything that we need to do better at getting the important information out to people. And cybersecurity is the one of the biggest things. I'm literally watching kids love Bitcoin and I forget
Ethereum and
all that stuff.
stablecoin and Dogecoin and all of the
All
different
that stuff, right? They love it. Like now, suddenly they're into investing. It used to, you'd say, ask them about General Electric stock. Where was it 20 years ago? Where is it today? They'll be like, what the hell are you talking about? But Bitcoin, they know.
yeah.
And it's like, wait a minute. Do you realize this electronic wallet could be stolen in an instant?
Yeah.
Whereas when I was buying General Electric stock, it was mine. It was pretty hard to get to. So you should know more than just about how fun it is to watch how fast it grows and how you can just invest in $20. You should know how risky it is too.
Well, you need to know how to de-risk those transactions, right? If you put a cold wallet in, your Bitcoins in a cold wallet, it's offline. It can't, you could put that in a safe at the safety deposit box at the bank. You're taking all the risk away because there's no way for a hacker to get to it, right? If you adopt passkeys for your authentication into Coinbase to get yourself into your account to make a trade down the road, then people can't really steal that from somewhere else and reuse it on Coinbase. If you learn how phishing works, you're less likely to click on a malicious link that will grant a hacker remote access to your computer to watch and take over what you're doing with your financial transactions. All of these things are avoidable if you know what you're doing, if you know what to look for. And again, I go back to the fact that this is not rocket science. We're not teaching you, metallurgy or how to get someone to the moon. This is very straightforward information with some common sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And we need to get this point across that, and I really want to see. Every time I have a guest on my podcast, I say this because I'm so impressed with the guests, you and so many guests. I want to see Cyberhoot be the Walmart of cybersecurity. I want to see Cyberhoot be the Walmart, the Facebook of social media. There is so much good stuff happening out there. So many creative. We keep talking about the growing chasm between rich and poor, but yet so many good people are doing so many good things and just being drowned out by all the other things that are happening that I just want to you're going to prevail in a way that's going to change a lot of people's lives. And that's just fun to watch, and we're
It's fun to go to work every day and feel like you're making a difference in the world. I just want to make a bigger difference. To that end, if you know someone at AAA, the car security, if you tow you, if you get a breakdown, we'd love to partner with AAA. Give every member of AAA access to Cyberhoop, and they can opt out if they don't want it. AARP is another one. Maybe there's one we haven't thought about that you could introduce us to, or someone listening to this could send an email to sales@cyberhoot.com, say, hey, talk to this person. That would really help us get more broad access to cyber hygiene skills.
So absolutely, I'm going to spread the word. I do all the time about various different things out there. We just created Chairs Across the Aisle is one podcast. We have the political no brainer. We just created Kids Quack. We're going to start interviewing kids a lot and see what their
Nice.
hopes and dreams are. And and just that, I'll ask about how do you feel about cybersecurity? Because I'm literally going to get back out there with Kids Quack shirts and go out to schools with business cards, old school like the old day, like the old man does, and tell the person at the front desk, hey, just check out my website. Think what you think. Tell me what you think about it. See if you're going to ask your own child to sit in a podcast with me for 15 minutes. We email you the questions up front. There's a like a fake picture. What do they call those? Damn, now I forget. Avatar that you can
Yep.
pick instead of having your child's face up there because some kids are
Oh, yeah,
shy.
yeah, yeah.
You can
Right.
pick an avatar, and so I'm definitely going to get the word out. And I do know some people in corporate America, so I'm definitely going to get the word out there too because I think this is an incredible thing you're offering. And I think when you partner with corporate America, there's a thing out here in Florida in Lake Nona. It's called Lake House, and it's KPMG's training center. It's their college campus for their new employees. And a
Yep.
lot of what they're doing, because KPMG hires not accountants, not lawyers, not economists. They just hire the smartest kids in the world to analyze businesses a lot of times. And
Hmm.
they're teaching these kids all sorts of other things to be productive in their new jobs. So I do head out there and try to make connections. So if I ever do break through, like you said, it's hard to get through. But if I ever do break through, Cyberhood's going to be one of the things I mentioned that this is available to you guys.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
So, um, Craig, I really appreciate this time. I know you probably want to get going here shortly. I don't want to keep you. It was fascinating, and I can talk, so I don't. I like to cut myself off at times. So,
We
but I
we
want
both
you to
have
share
that.
whatever else you want to share. I don't want to consume the conversation. Tell us all about Cyberhood. Tell us anything you want at this point. Websites, phone numbers, whatever you want to
Yeah,
share.
so it's cyberhoot.com. You can go there, you can book a demo. In 20, 30 minutes, you'll see what we can offer your employees. We have a number of distinct advantages built into our platform with the way we do phishing. We've got a patent pending on our Hootfish product, which is this interactivity, positive reward, gamification-based phishing simulation. We can use typo-squatted domain names of vendors in our phishing because it's in the browser. It's not an email we have to force through to the inboxes of users. Um, so we have all sorts of different benefits. We got metrics on every last employee having completed the phishing assignment instead of only those that opened the gotcha or the fake email message to the inbox. And it's fully automated. So there's no detriment to adopting Cyberhood. It runs itself. It integrates with Google and Microsoft Entra ID for user management. Reports are automated. High engagement is quite common. Um, at the end of the day, just visit cyberhoot.com or email sales@cyberhoot.com to book a demo. We'll get on the phone with you. We'll show you what we're doing, tell you what it's all about, how the science supports our approach, because there are 3 or 4 studies that have come out saying these other approaches aren't really working at changing behaviors, on internalizing the knowledge. Punishment doesn't really work. So, yeah, just give us a look. And we go month to month. There's no 1 year to get the best pricing with Cyberhood. It's all, if you don't think it's working for you, we want to have you find something that does. So that's us in a nutshell.
That's great. Craig Taylor, Cyberhoot, founder, Chief Information Security Officer. You've been incredible. The information you're sharing has been incredible. So I could just imagine if you get online and you do just like you said, either do the demo or do the 12 courses across 1 year. It's just a great knowledge. It really is. It's an important life skill, and it's just as important as knowing how to paint your kid's bedroom at this point. It's a part of every day now. So we need to get this word out there. Well, Craig, I really appreciate you. I would like to say, like I always, I'd like to have you back on in a few months and see where you're at. If
I'd be happy to return. This has been a really enjoyable, fun time for me. So thank you for the great questions and for having me on today. I appreciate your efforts.
Thank you so much, sir. I'm gonna definitely be back. I've enjoyed this. This has really been incredible. This is a lot of it's been enlightening to me. A lot of it's been very educational to me. Like I said, often when I get a challenge on a computer, I ask my 13-year-old. So everything's new to me. So this has been great. Thank you so much, Craig Taylor, Cyberhoot, founder, chief chief information security officer, and I'm looking forward to speaking to you again. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Take care.
Take care, sir.